Tonight we're gonna be grilling, and the steak is Joe. We're gonna be eating up a Joe steak. We're gonna be asking a former retailer, is this your fault that comics are sucking? Is it your fault that your business sucks? No. I'm saying no, but like it's kind of a yes, kind of a no. No, like if you guys haven't been aware, Mark Millar, no, even before Mark Millar, like 2.5 weeks ago, you had a comic book store owner, Glenn, makes a viral video kind of saying, yo, the comic product, it sucks, and I don't like what the creators are doing with the characters, blah, blah. Comic book Twitter goes crazy, per usual, because everyone is emotionally retarded. And you get the side, you get the right, obviously, who are like, yeah, Glenn's right. I hate SJWs. And then you have the people on the left lying, Glenn is alt-right, and he has fucked up teeth. And the fucked up teeth comment summoned Mark Millar, who was like, that's not right. We don't talk about people's teeth like that. That's not what we do. And so Mark Millar comes out and then basically brings on Glenn. And then Mark Millar, I don't know, like eyes wide open. I was about to go with arms wide open. No, but with eyes wide open. With eyes wide open. He goes, holy crap. There are a lot of very vindictive people in the comic book industry. So he brings Glenn on. He then starts having conversations with comic book retailers. And he's like, I'm trying to do a Mark Millar. He's like, do the comics actually suck? Like back in the 2000s, they were great. And now I feel like they suck. And so the retailers are basically, they're having conversations. Yeah, the product might not be good or blah, blah. And so, but when I was watching these takes about retailers, I had some opinions and we're going to get into those. But before we get into those opinions and before we bring on my awesome guest, let's just get into the chat real quick. We got JD Calderon in the house. You forgot versus distributor. I know. I don't have a distributor. I mean, yeah, we'll get into that. Massive Panda. I can put I'll put distributor because Joe obviously had to work with distribution. So he's a double expert, so we can double grill him. Massive Panda, yo, what's going on, Tyler? Well, I'll let you guys know this. If you are not a member of my Patreon, and you don't have to, but if you are, I posted an audio. I do a weekly audio called Draw and Talk Uncensored. It's called I Quit This Life and I'm Happy. And Eliza Barr would go, crap, Tyler's going to try to kill himself yet again. I keep saying quit this life. I'm talking about comics, not like my own life. But Eliza Barr's like, great. Suicide watch. So in a nutshell, I'll just go into the details. But I took on a job, so I'm not doing the full-time creator thing anymore. And it wasn't anything to do with money. My wife, we had money like all the way up until like February, with all the creator stuff. So like we were good on money. It was mostly to do with passion. And I realized, for the last 5 years, I've been going so hard on like business. I want to become a full-time creator. That's my goal. And I did it, and I realized there are so many aspects of being a full-time creator that I didn't like, and I just don't have, I don't know, maybe the toughness, the fortitude to do it. I realized that, and so my wife and I kind of had the decision, like, hey, like guys, I if you want to listen to it, it's 30 minutes. I will be doing a YouTube video later in the year where I break this down and I go into the details. But basically, my wife started seeing that I was playing more video games and watching TV shows, and she's like, "How come you're not drawing?" And I'm like, "I don't want to. This isn't fun anymore. I have zero passion to make comics right now." And it was all because like I'm stressed out. Like this went from being a fun hobby to this is stressful. I hate it and I don't want to do this. So I didn't draw for 2 months. I literally didn't draw for 2 months. And so I just, kept working with other artists, making out books, getting money. And my wife was like, listen, like, you're clearly not happy doing this full time. Why don't you just go find another job? And so, long story short, I found another job. I'm the director of marketing for some company, and I have a team that's under me that I manage, and it's been great. I've been working there for a week. It's fantastic. I love it. Literally came home today and was like, my wife's like, how's your day? And I was like, I had a fucking great day. So it's great. And my mojo's back because now I'm drawing, I'm creating content again. Like I'm having a silly goose time. Like I was very depressed these last 2 months. I was trying not to show it. But I'm like on top of the world right now. So life is good. As well, and we're gonna bring in Joe because the gas is on. I've been farting and the gas is on. But check this out. Check the shiz out. So this is Super Plumber Sisters 2 launches January 17th. So super excited about that. Link is in the chat. Link is in the description. I've been enjoying these tweets, honestly. If you got a copy of Super Plumber Sisters, like take a picture of it, tweet it out to me, tag me at Tyler C at _C_world, like Tyler _C _world. Like this shit makes my day. I retweet all of them. It just makes me happy knowing that people are getting their books. Do you have to wear a suit? No, but I did get myself some like nice like casual business clothes. Tyler be hitting that high note from Creed with arms wide open. Now Creed isn't very high. Tyler has, dare I say, woke. Fuck, dude's name is even Glenn. Vindicated Entertainment. How you doing? We got Eloise. Unlucky Dead. Unlucky Jack. Sorry. Vegs Bacon. It's a chilly, rainy night here. I'm all ready to get cozy and listen. We're gonna have fun. Vindicated says sometimes it's that structure and the ability to get into a different zone like work where you're not stuck at home the whole day. It can be hard to navigate personal and business. Absolutely. I mean, guys, like seriously, I get down here and I'm like, I'd start drawing. I drew a whole chapter of The Growth of Megafist, and I was like, this fucking sucks. I hate this, and I hate that like my paycheck is dependent on my creativity. And it's just not fun. And I literally was so miserable doing this. So like business and sales and marketing, like your boy knows it. Your boy understands it. He's still going to preach it. But like going full time now, like guys, hashtag 2024. My new motto is going to be it's going to be normalize this just being a hobby and having fun. That's what I learned. Cause man, I have just been like, for the last 5 years, I mean, if you've been watching this channel, I'm going to go full time. I want to figure out a full time sales, marketing, business. And when I finally made my dreams come true, I was like, I am going to kill myself. I hate this. I hate this so much. And let's bring on Joe. Let's bring on Joe tonight. Let's bring on Joe right now. This is Joe. I'm going to say his last name wrong. Solis. He can correct me if I'm wrong. We had Joe on a couple weeks ago, and Joe is a former retailer, so like we're gonna get some great perspective from him because I can ask him my retailer questions, grill him on those because I have I have a document that has all the questions I'm gonna ask him tonight. He will not go unchallenged, and then and I'm sure Joe's also very business savvy. He has businesses, and I'm sure he can probably attest to like. The thick skinness that you have to run a business. I've been so sales and marketing, and I can still do that. But running a business and the operation stuff, like the finances, like the ordering, inventory, like all of that, I wasn't prepared for it. I was naive on it, and I got my ass slapped. So yeah, let's see. You see, you should do heroin. That way the addiction could have been your full-time gig. Nicholas Tyler got a job. Yeah, I got a job, guys. But I found a way to do more content. It's kind of crazy. I didn't want to do content. now that I have a job and I have less time, I want to do more content. I literally created a podcast rig in my car, and it's safe. So while I drive, I just have a microphone right here, and I'm like, so guys, today we're going to be talking about, and it's sick. Luster Dog, Tyler, hope you asked for solutions because with these retailers, these are what we're going to ask Joe. Tyler, I hope you asked for solutions because with these retailer discussions, they tend to get into nostalgia and going over problems we all know. Time for solutions. Guys, if Joe doesn't give us solutions, we're going to make sure he has a bad 2024. Mason, I understand, Tyler. When people ask me why I don't do comics full time, your reasons are why. Sometimes a dream turns out to be a nightmare. Yes. And like, here's the thing. I won't say that I'm not naive to the fact that if I was doing 100K a campaign, yeah, things would probably be different. My wife and I, we were making enough money to like I said, we had enough that like I could like not do another Kickstarter or not sell another thing, and we're good till February. The problem is it's just like, oh, if I don't draw, I don't make money. And I have fun drawing, and now I'm not having fun drawing. So I don't want to draw. And because I don't have a boss like a gun in my head saying do it, I'm like, I guess I'll just play video games all day. Heroin is so last year. It's all about fentanyl now. That's true, man. You got to get into that fentanyl. All right, let's guys, the steak is raw, but by the end, it will be cooked. Joe, thanks for being so patient, man.
Yes, of course. You know, last time I came on, the title was indie creators are dropping like flies. This time is it the retailer's fault? Next time I come on, it's just going to straight up say on the thumbnail, tonight we're attacking Joe. Who wants to come?
Exactly.
What are we going to attack him about? No matter, it doesn't matter. By the end, I've already got my stuffed animal ready to be. And I'll be like,
you guys, it's all Joe.
I want to go home, Tyler.
Is it wrong to like? Where's my gun? Is it wrong to pull my gun out now? We'll put it back. No, guys, it's gonna like. So, guys, how this came about is this. So when Glenn put out that video, and then when Mark Millar put out that video, I recorded a video for the bank, a fake live. And it was basically like, it wasn't necessarily attacking retailers, but I had all these questions like, okay, like I get it. The product isn't very good, but also like, you're also your own business. Like how much of this also is your fault? And so I basically had all these questions and I was just asking the questions and then coming up with my own like monologues. And then I recorded the video and I put it in the bank. I then posted on Twitter saying, I don't like the term cancel pig. And here's the thing, guys. A couple days beforehand, I was like, I don't think if Mags were to do Batman, she turned it trans, and that's not good. And so I got attacked on the left for 3 days because of that tweet. And then I said, I don't like the cancel pigs label. And then I got attacked for 3 days on that. And so I was like, maybe I don't put out this like, you know, kind of like anti-retailer video. And I was like, gosh, there's got to be a way that I can ask these questions, but like also get like the nuance and stuff and also get like the answers from someone. And then Joe literally messages me the other, like literally yesterday. And it's like, hey, I was a former retailer. We could talk about that. And I'm like, I found the steak. I found the steak. Now we got Joe here.
That way.
Yeah. And Joe apparently has a take on the cancel pigs.
Hey, real quick. I didn't get a new shirt from your fan club, but I did get this. It's Marty McFly bouncing a little block.
That's sick.
The only thing I don't like about it, it's derivative of Super Mario Brothers. Who in their right mind would make something that's derivative of Super Mario Brothers?
It's almost. It's almost. I don't know what you're. Mine has nothing to do with Super Mario Brothers. They're just red and green. Red and green and plumbers. Like what? Nintendo owns those three things.
Yep. Only those three things. No, so I literally was. You know, I've been watching all the cancel pigs thing, and I was like, whatever. Like, I'm gonna make a song about this, and I'm gonna sing it here for you tonight. So got my prop guitar here.
Oh shit!
Guitar Hero guitar.
Do you actually have Do you actually have a backing track, or is it just a prop?
No, it's just a prop. I'm not that fancy, but it is. So I call this Cancel Pigs, but it's sung to the tune of Black Sabbath's War Pigs. All right.
Okay,
so
we're ready. I have the drums.
You can do the ta-da part if you want. I mean,
No.
you were in a band. You were in a band. You can handle that. So
I'll go. 1,
ready?
2, 3,
There
4.
we go. Say, cancel pigs won't stop their squealing. All your tweets that we'll be reading. Don't piss them off, they'll cook your bacon. All the fists that will be shaking. Don't say they're wrong, they do not like that. They'll turn around and call you fat. They will try and cancel you. Your career it will be through. Oh Lord.
That was sick, guys. Hold on. Hold on real quick. I've got
Yeah, round of applause.
I have a round of applause somewhere. Yeah, there. Hold on. Where is it? There we go. That was awesome. That was awesome. Jam night, yeah, that was sick. Hell yeah, war. I mean, cancel it. Yeah, it's been okay. How do I turn this off? Yeah, it's been absolutely crazy. I mean, the reason why I don't like that term, and I still don't, is because people are now misusing it. Like it went from like, I'm saying it to Heather Antos because she actually got someone canceled, to, oh, you have a differing opinion than me, cancel pig. And I'm like, no, that's the wrong thing. That's like me going, oh, you think Miles Morales shouldn't be Spider-Man? That you're a Nazi. Like, to me, it's the same. It's the same freaking thing. And I don't like it. Yeah, see, everyone freaking like that. But so let's talk. So real quick, Joe, like, so you were, well, actually, before you get into the retailer part, you've owned several businesses.
Yeah, well, the business we owned, it was a comic and game shop here in our town, but it's part of this overall LLC that we own called Child's Play Games and Geekery. So we've had it since 2014. Actually, next year is going to be 10 years. So we got a lot of plans for that. But it started off as retail. I mean, we were doing just events, building up a couple of years, and then in year 3 we're able to get a physical store, and that's where we ran it, for two years, and then ended up selling it in 2018 and actually making a profit, believe it or not. So
yeah.
So thankfully, when COVID came around, it was out of our hands, and that's when I had already switched over to doing a YouTube channel that it takes too long to monetize. So I literally was going to businesses in town and selling them permanent ads. So that's how I was making money there. And then, of course, now switching over to comics, which this is my time to shill. But our Kickstarter books came in. Yay. So
nice. Congrats.
Yeah. So this is the newest passion is getting these done. And you're definitely a big help in that. Whenever I was searching for, I don't remember what I typed in, and you came up. It was your video about how to write a script, I think, that came up.
Yeah, that one. That one got. They always say they say in like the creator, like, professional world, like, never go viral on your like first video, because then you're fucked. And that was my second video, and that's the one where everyone. So like when it went viral and it started getting views and a lot of people started finding me, I was in the drama. I was doing drama content. So they're like, oh, I thought this guy did how-to content, which is why I have so many freaking dead subs. Real quick, before we talk about like the retailer aspects, and we turn the grill on. Now what are your sentiments on people going like I have for the last 5 years been like, go full time. I'm going to be a full time creator. I'm going to be a full time business owner. And then I realized I like the sales and marketing aspect of it, but I didn't like the operations, which is obviously which I didn't realize was such a huge part of it. Like, and I realized like I couldn't hack it. Like, do you find like you probably have also like entrepreneur friends who have like either like stuck with, like, you've stuck with it. You stuck with it. Like, I don't know, like, what's your advice for people who are like, I want to do business because like who I want to be a full-time business person. Cause like right now I'm in the, hey, if you want to become a full-time creator, do it. But also it's okay for this just to be a hobby. Like now I'm singing that tune. But what's your advice as someone who has been doing it for several years?
No, well, that is what you and I talked about last time, that it was okay to have this on the side, because no, me and my wife are definitely, the king and queen of doing this on the side, because even when we had the store, we kept our day jobs. She's a teacher and I was a banker. So that banking experience helped with the finance and all that side. But yeah, no, it's always been a side thing, and I can totally sympathize or empathize, whichever one it is, trying to do it full time, because that was a goal. We wanted to get to that point, and that's why the way we were building into it, we were taking the profit and just putting it back in and putting it back in. We ended up with a bigger location, and so that way, when unfortunately it did come time to sell, we were able to show profitability to the buyer and say, hey, if you follow this business plan, you are going to make money doing this. And that's how we were able to sell and make a profit off of that.
So how did it work? Guys, I promise I'm going to grill. I'm going to ask questions, like my grill questions, but how did it work where you guys kept it on the side, but you guys ended up having a store at one point? Like, did you just have employees?
Or no, actually at the beginning, it was just us. I mean, we would literally get out of work and run over to the shop. We'd allow ourselves about, an hour to get ready, and then just run the shop in the evenings and the weekends. And then later on, probably getting into year 2, I did have one official employee, but he was a friend. So he was somebody that I trusted explicitly, and he actually had worked in shops before. So he helped give a lot of tips even before we opened the physical shop. So, and I had a lot more volunteers, people that would work like for store credit and stuff like that. But as far as an employee, he was the only one. Gotcha. And that's the thing, is that like, I was very careful about who I handed that over to, even if it was just gone for a weekend or whatever it was. And that's the thing that kills a lot of people, is that, you try to give it to other people who just need a job. They don't necessarily care, especially in this industry. And we're going to get into talking about that, because it's like, I'll go over with you the strategies that I took from customer service and implemented them here. So that way we weren't the classic comic shop where you walk in and somebody's behind the counter on their phone or whatever.
Yeah, that's my comic book shop.
Yeah,
my first one.
No, yeah. My thing was, I've always been taught in customer service, you greet the people when they come in. We would give them a quick tour of the store. I mean, I still have ratings on our old Facebook that say, owner greeted me, showed us around the store, very friendly atmosphere. And that was our goal the whole time, especially here in our town. It's a very family centric town. If you do anything that caters to families, you're going to be successful, because they're just hungry for that here. And we totally did that, and that's a lot of the things we'll get into, tonight, as you're asking your questions about what else can you do when certain things are not selling and stuff like that.
Dope. Massive Panda, it's okay to do comics on the side as long as you're okay with the fact that it'll take way longer to get an issue out. It's very frustrating taking so long between the issues. What's crazy is, because I was so down, it was taking me longer to draw a chapter of Girl with the Megafist, because I was so like, I hate this. I don't want to do this anymore. So I lost my mojo doing it full time. I have drawn more pages of the Girl with the Megafist in the last 4 days, now that I have a job, than I did for 2 months. So yeah, I just think it depends. But I agree with you. It's hard. I think another thing that I had a hard time with is like, so I would get like my campaign funds, and I'm putting out all these books, and then I have artists kind of going like, yo, let's work on the next one, or let's do this. And I'm like, if I pay you now, that means like there's less for me and my savings. And so like, but they're like, and in a sense, because like one creator I do a lot of books with, I'm basically like I'm like 80% of his income a year. And so when he's like, hey, when's the next gig? If you don't pay me, I've got no one. I'm like, great. Like now you're dependent on me doing well. Like, and that's the employer to employee role that I wasn't expecting, like that stress. And I understand now why like other bosses I have are like, they're like gray hair after like 5 years, because they're probably like, crap, if it's a down year, I just ruined like all these people's lives. Like my uncle today, he like his boss, the higher ups told him, they go, hey, today we're doing layoffs. And my uncle was like the week before Christmas, like, are you guys fucking kidding me? And they're like, we need to do it. And he's like, no. He was like, I'm not doing it. They're like, lay off people or we're gonna lay you off. And at that point they're like, fuck, like I'm about to ruin like 4 people's day. So yeah, I can, it's tough. Homie is freelance. I was trying to tell him, I was like, dude, chill. Who does your uncle work for? Satan? dude, it's actually crazy. Like on LinkedIn, like I'm on LinkedIn all the time, which is like the worst social network ever. And it's actually crazy, like how normal it is for companies to lay off a week or 2 before Christmas. Because they're like, oh, like now's the time we can like worry about our look at the books, even though they knew like in October that like it was already going, they already needed to fix it. It's it fucking sucks. So with the retailers, let me pull out my notes right here and let's turn the grill on. All right, we're putting the steak, which is Joe, on the grill. Okay, so one problem, I'm just going to say all the problems I had because I know you've had discussions. One problem I had with some of the retail discussions was the fact that they were only focusing on the product. And I get it. Like you're selling specific type of product and it's not good quality. Then it's like, yeah, the quality that I'm selling fucking sucks. But my counter to that was, and this is my experience from the store that I don't go to anymore, but they're there, is I remember asking them, hey, what marketing do you guys do? Because I still do sales and marketing, guys. And I was like, what marketing do you guys do? Are you doing Facebook ads? What are you doing to bring in traffic to your store? And they said, nothing. New comic books come out on Wednesday. People come in and they buy them. And then if people want to come in, blah, blah, and I'm like, okay, weird. Most like any other business, like their goal is to get people in, but you're not doing that. So there's a part of me that's like, okay, how I get the product might suck, but also what are the retailers doing to get people into their store besides the product? Because I mean, there's even if you didn't like the latest issue of Spider-Man, you can find a good issue that you can sell to someone. So Joe, how much of the retailer's fault is them not doing their own sales and marketing? And did you do your own sales and marketing to bring in traffic to your store?
Oh yeah, I absolutely had to. I mean, how else was it going to get done? It was like there's nobody. I don't have a marketing department. Me and my wife were the marketing department. We were, my wife. That's why it's called Child's Play Comics, because her last name is Childs. So she is the owner. And I always told her, give me a badge that says Director of Operations. So that's what mine said. Because I was like, I literally work on everything else, and marketing was one of them. In fact, it's funny. I did everything from Facebook ads to traditional newspaper, because they actually had, a decent one here in town that I actually just found a layout for it the other day. And it was just like getting events, like you were saying, like pushing events every week of some kind. Of course, some of the strengths of the store, because I did a lot of research before we opened, was we made sure that we were going to hit more than just comics. We had comics, we had games, we had toys, right? Because any shop out there who is successful and only does comics, more power to you, because I was not prepared to do that, because there was some times when the comics, if they had a lower sale week, the games would carry us to the next week. And then, the toys were always the lowest because we didn't push that the most. But absolutely had to come up with ideas. I had to come up with events, reasons for people to come into the store. And anytime, like I said, if somebody was new, try to talk, just, it's all this, it's funny because as much as I didn't like working at a bank, I learned a lot, like just conversation, just hey, at the bank it's like, tell me about your finances, and at the store it's like, tell me what's your favorite superhero, what comics do you like,
What are
or
you into? I'll find you
yeah,
something.
yeah,
We'll create a comic book plan for your needs.
exactly. Yes, it was called a subscription service. Yeah,
Yeah. On
Have
week
you signed up?
one, we're gonna get you your crime, and on week two, we'll satisfy your sci-fi need with this one.
Mhm.
But so you had
Yeah.
and so you had to have a diversification of product. I mean, I'd like the comic book store that's like in like 3 towns over mine. I'm carrying my knife because this grill is on, guys. Um, has like board games, Magic the Gathering nights, Dungeons and Dragons nights, and whatnot. And it's like, and there's like themes every single day. So whatever fandom you're in, like you can come in. Like I always when I got into comics, I viewed the comic book shop as like I don't go to bars, guys, because I'm Mormon, but I found it as like the place of like, this is my people. Like they get me. I can have these what my friends would think are retarded questions and conversation topics. I could have there. Like, well, what if the Hulk was in Batman's universe? Like, what would happen? And like from the outside world, that's like a retarded question, but like in comics, that's a fun question that we can talk for hours about. And so I like that's why I felt at first going to my current comic book shop, I'm like, get me out of here. This place smells like ass. And it smells like someone died. There's a new comic book shop, and like they only sell comics. Their graphic novel section has been facing the window for the last 5 years. So now all the spines are washed out. So they're like, how come these aren't selling? I'm like, I'll tell you why they're selling. You're selling them at full price on Amazon. I get a 10% like discount, and the quality of your book sucks. Because it's washed out. The new store that's in the mall that they just built a month ago is like, it's beautiful. It's like perfectly displayed. They also have like manga and like toys and whatnot. But I'm just like the comic shop that like is in my town, like right across the street from me, like it's gonna die because it only does like comics. It smells like ass. There's no customer service. And if I do want to talk to someone, the dude is like a 4X wearing a 1X shirt. So like his belly is just out and it's gross, and he wears flip-flops. So like so like you talking like you need customer like that sucks, by the way, that we all know that there is the trope of going into a comic book store and the employee not being friendly or like getting no help.
Yeah, why does the Simpsons have the comic book guy? Because somewhere those writers experienced that, and they're like, hey, that would make a great character to parody this thing that happens in real life,
And people can relate to it. Like it's I hate when people go, that's a stereotype. I'm like, it's only a stereotype if it's true. Like I've never seen a stereotype where I'm like, there's no way that that's real. Where like you like that's real. Like here's a stereotype, guys. And there's a stereotype that Asian people brag about how much they save money on. So they play the game, guess how much. Like that's a stereotype, and it's true because I go to my grandma's house and I go, Grandma, is that a new TV? And she's like, yes, guess how much? Because it's not about how much it cost, it's how much she saved. So yeah, like with like my comic book store, like literally first time going into a comic book store, losing my comic book store virginity. I walk in and I'm like, this is the coolest place ever. I just see books and a lot of people, and I was a closeted nerd my whole life. And I see Batman comics, and I saw like Batman Year One, I saw Detective Comics 1, Batman New 52 1, but then I saw these other numbers and nothing made sense to me. And so I was trying to find the clit, basically, of comics. And I was just like, I remember going to the store owner and I was like, hey, I like Batman. Like I saw something about Joker's face getting cut off, blah, blah, blah. That's why I'm here. Where do I start? And he just goes over there in the Batman section. I went, yeah. Like I went there. I see like a New 52. Don't know what that is. I see like Detective Comics 1. I don't know why it's called Detective Comics, but Batman's on there. But I see a Batman comic and it's number 1. But I don't get it. Also they were doing The Dark Knight and Batman Incorporated. So there was like 5 Batman books. I'm like, I'm really confused. Can you help me? And he's just like, Batman. He goes, the mass thing starts in Detective Comics and then goes to the Batman, and then you just go up the numbers. And I was like, that fucking made no sense to me. So I went on my phone and was like, okay, just do this, and took like 30 minutes of like reading to go, okay, buy this, and I was dedicated because I really wanted to be there. But if I was like someone who was just like haphazardly there and that was my experience, I'd be like, okay, well, fuck this place, like this is too hard. I'd leave. So like customer service was really big and was important for your guys' store.
Oh yeah, for sure. And always almost like quizzing ourselves, right? Because my wife, we always called her the game master because she was the expert on board games and I was a comic book guy. So we kind of both had to know a little bit more about each other's side, because kind of like you did to me on the last stream. You're like, oh, what's a good board game for 2 people? I'm like, oh crap, I haven't exercised that muscle in my brain for a couple of years. And I was able to come up with one for you, and it's the same thing with her.
You have to know your product.
Yeah, when they would ask her about a comic, that's not her thing, but she knew some basics to where she could kind of lead them over. Like at the time when we had the shop, DC's Rebirth was happening, so that was perfect. All these new number ones, and it was like, go check this out. I'm trying to remember what I know. Marvel had something at the time too. I can see them in my mind, but I can't think of what the initiative was called. But the point is, there was one for each, right? And then Image had Image First for $1, like all those first issues for $1. And I had a deal where I was like, if you buy Image First and you like it, bring it back and I'll sell you the graphic novel, discount $1 from what you paid for Image First, and you can get the graphic novel. So it was just stuff like that, right? It was just incentive to make them come back, or to give them an incentive to keep going, to keep buying, because that's the reality. It doesn't matter what it is, it's retail. So therefore you are selling something, right? I was trying to think of a good analogy today to tell you, and I was like, okay, a pretty funny one that I could think of is like if I owned a shoe store, right? And all of a sudden Crocs are invented. And everybody's like, oh, those are the worst things ever, and it's like, yeah, but they're selling,
Yeah.
like, so even though I don't agree, I don't think Crocs are comfortable, I think they look bad, it's not my opinion at that point. It's like, these are selling, and I want my shoe store to continue.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know like my friend Larry is always like, if the ship of floppy comics is burning, I'm burning it with. I'm going down with it, and like power to him. I'm someone who's like, if the attention's like over here and people are doing that, I want to keep doing this, so I'm gonna jump over onto that I want to go over onto that boat. This is funny. Oh wow, this is from Crooked Painter. Oh wow, I had the most wonderful experience buying a book the other day. It was on Amazon and I didn't have to go anywhere or talk to anyone. That's fair. Massive. There's a really popular comic book shop around the corner from my job in Atlanta. The lady who works there is a complete bitch who's rude and with no people skills. I never go in there anymore. Yeah, like so like the comic book shop that's like down the street, like in 3 towns from me. Like they have a really nice show, like sorry, a really nice store, but like they're fucking rude. Like and like trying to get a hold with them sucked. One time they sold one of my books in my hold to someone else. And then they're like, I'm sorry, you can have this one, but like we stabbed a knife through the cover. And so I'll give it to you for like $1 discount. At the time, I was like, fine, whatever. Like, this fucking sucks. I even went like I tried to do like a retail like variant with them when I was doing Coins of Judas with Travis Gibb. And I was like, hey, I'll do a retail variant for you. I won't charge you anything. I'll charge you. It'll cost you 500. I was like, it'll cost you $500. But whatever like copies you don't sell, I'll buy back at cost. So like basically you're not going to lose money. You can only make money. You won't lose money. And they were like, no, fuck off. And I was like, okay, well, what if I give it to you for even a more discount and then I'll buy it even more. And like, then you'll even make a profit off of me buying the books back.
And they're say Crooked Painter made a good point talking about Amazon. That was a hard question that I had to be ready to answer. I remember a younger kid came in. He was like, "Why get this on Amazon for such and such price?" And I'm like, hey, I'm not going to pretend like I can compete with Amazon. The only thing I can offer to you is if you buy it here, obviously you're supporting this place, keeps the lights on, you can come play with your friends. That's what I've got to offer. And that's all I would leave it at, and they would decide for themselves. Same thing with the comics. I had one guy one time be like, "Oh, well, can you give me the what is it, 35 or whatever percent the discount comic book service gives me?" And I'm like, "You know that I can't." And the same thing. It's like I can save stuff for you. I can try to give you a little bit of a discount if I can. And he threw me a bone. He's like, "Okay, I'll get like Star Wars Adventures for my kids from you, and I'll get the rest from them." I'm like, "Hey, one book is a win for me, like I'm not going to complain about that, so you have to be ready to answer those tough questions too.
Well, so here's a tough question that some people I've heard some people spouting. This is where people clip us and we both get canceled. They cancel me for asking, and they cancel you for whatever answer is next.
No matter what I answer.
Yeah, exactly. So people are saying like, well, if there's no more floppies, then a comic book store ceases to exist, like the comic book store industry. And like, yeah, I mean, they can survive with like Magic the Gathering and like blah blah blah. But assuming that they none of them did that, and their only product was floppies. In your opinion, because you don't own the store anymore, you don't own the store anymore, so you're just just coming from the lens of like seeing everything in the industry, like if comics are going in this direction, and that means there's no future for the comic book store, do you think the industry should continue making decisions that will keep those stores open for longer, or do you think the publishers should basically go, listen, we are going in this new route, no floppies, all this blah blah, and it sucks that you guys can't be in business, like you guys' business models gone anymore? And like, and by the way, guys, I say that like that sucks because it's it's a bunch of small businesses, their livelihood and whatnot. Like I get that fucking sucks. It's awful. But that is a like small businesses crash and burn literally every single day. I mean, I watched my grandpa build up like a bajillion-dollar like business in my hometown. He like fucking lived on like Lake Washington next to like Bill Gates. They had a fucking rich life for several years, and then when the digital printer came out, his business got absolutely like hosed and like was null. Like there was no his business it didn't need to exist anymore because it was pointless. And then I mean, one, they made some terrible bad expenses. Like they didn't save, they just spent. So that's on them. But then now like, my grandpa's like working at Costco and whatnot. And so like that's like, that's bad. That's bad on him on finances, but I'm talking about mostly just with like the cycle of small businesses, like industries at some point die. So like, what's your take on, as someone who has owned a comic book store, and with comic book stores closing, and with some people saying like, well, maybe we don't need the comic book stores, they can all disappear because the model's changing. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's kind of like what you just said with your grandfather, because it sounds like his was more of a specialized thing, right?
It was specialized printing, like traditional print, like dyes and like,
yeah. That's what I've noticed, and that's why I went into it with a more diversified model, because I saw the bigger stores in the area that have been around for a long time. They had already done that model. They've already carried, the comics, the games, and the toys. And so if you're in an industry where you have the choice to carry more than one type of item that you can sell, then why wouldn't you? I mean, I understand if there's certain shops, like for example, if I was just going to go open a shop and my wife was not going to come do the game part, it would be more challenging for me because that's not necessarily my thing. But honestly, I've even thought about that. I was like, if I ever did it again, because she won't. She's one and done, and she's like, I'm never doing that again. But I'm the opposite. I was like, I loved it. It was one of those jobs that I can honestly say it was hard, but I loved it.
Yeah.
And so to your question, I would just say that because this is an industry where you have so many different things to pull from, there's really not a reason to for it to go away per se, because
Hmm.
all you have to do is continue to make choices of what to pull, of where you're going to make your money. Like, perfect example, you talk about it all the time, manga, right? Manga was something that I was interested in the store towards the end, or what ended up being the end for me. But I'm not going to pretend like I was an expert or I knew what I was doing. I love anime. But I don't necessarily read manga, right? So I
Hmm.
was trying my best to get that incorporated, and I mean there was some success, but it wasn't there yet. Maybe if I would have stayed with it, it could have built into. I'm telling you one thing now. My sign on the front of the store, it wouldn't say comics, game, and toys. Now it would say comics, games, and manga.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because that has shown that there's a strength there, right? And another good example to kind of piggyback on that is that even when you go into it thinking, oh, well, as long as I put all these popular titles up on the stand, they're going to sell, right? The only one that I can honestly say that sold really well and probably was the best seller was Batman.
Yeah.
All the rest were kind of given, even like at the time The Walking Dead was still at its peak. So you would think, that as long as I kept Walking Dead on the shelf, it would sell. I had subscribers and whatnot. But an even better example would be the card games. The top two card games are Magic the Gathering and Pokemon.
Hmm.
So those two were like, okay. But the problem for us was there was already one established store in town that was fully. See, Magic the Gathering has a system to where you have to run Friday Night Magic every Friday. You have to report your numbers. It's very structured. And if you don't keep up with that structure, you don't get all the exclusives and whatnot. And then another store opened in town, and they were very Magic heavy. So we were realistic, and we tried to fight against that by offering it, but we couldn't offer the same thing. We were never going to get to that point. The same with Pokemon. So what our chosen route was, we looked for a need in the area, and what we found,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
the Yu-Gi-Oh
Like
players
for real?
were not being catered to in our area.
Because that game's ass right now.
So
But
we went through the process of becoming an official store, getting all the prize support, and that game came and brought a lot of income. There was another newer card game called Force of Will, which was very anime inspired. That one blew up at our store too, because again, nobody offered it. So we found, that the things that should have just been a no-brainer, like, oh, carry Magic, carry Pokemon, and you're gonna sell out all the time, it just didn't happen for us, but we had to adjust. And so, to come back to your question, that's what these shops have to do. If you're only selling comics, maybe look to see if you can add board games or toys or something that's
like
going to bring in
like
income.
people need to realize like it can't be just it's not necessarily a comic book store anymore. It's a pop culture store. Like this is a nerd store. Give like nerds want like you said Force of Will. So like guys, I'll let you guys know this. I'm a trading card whore. I'm not into like buying and playing the games because I know who I am as a person. Like I will get addicted and then that's like my heroin, like
Mhm.
trading cards. Like no joke. Like I've been looking into that One Piece trading card and I'm like, don't buy it because no one's gonna play it with you, and then there's no point of you doing it. But I'm looking at this Force of Will right now, and because it's like anime inspired, I'm like, oh well, fuck, this is not my alley. And
Yeah, for sure.
I got that crack itch going on right now, where I'm like, oh, like maybe I'll get some. But yeah, like see your store is not a comic book store, but it's like a nerd store. Like this is a place you can give people a nerd experience and cater to them. Um, and also like the margins will are probably better for you selling a mug with Batman's logo than a Batman comic. So like you can diversify your product. Look, everyone here loves Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh, Kaiba Boy. The favorite voice in my head speaks in Pegasus voice. See, everyone like I love Yu-Gi-Oh. A huge fan of the show, huge fan of the manga. Guys, I don't know. Guys, I tried to play Master Duel a couple months ago and I could not figure out the new game mechanics because I'm old. I was just like, listen, I just want to attack someone with my Blue Eyes White Dragon. They're like, is it synchro? Is it pendulum? And I'm like, okay, I'm out. Andrew Rowland for the $20. Thank you so much. The floppies are dying out because manga has made trades more popular. Plus, people only buy the number ones and never buy the rest of the series until the trades come out, and they stupidly think their number ones will make money. Yeah, well, yeah. So, what are your thoughts, Kaiba? What are you gay? Screw the rules. I have money. What are your thoughts on the collector's market? Like, what are your thoughts on the collector's market as a store owner?
Now, the collector's market was actually interesting because I didn't have a hand in it directly because our store, especially the first store, was too small to have back issues, right?
Okay.
So,
Oh, interesting.
so
Okay.
yeah, so a friend of mine in a neighboring town, he had a full-on comic shop, and he was the one
Like with the
who,
tables and like the you know
yeah,
the
hmm yeah, so he was the one that would try to buy collections and try to find key issues, and so we had a deal to where, especially because unfortunately his shop did shut down eventually, but
shame.
he would provide key issues and things for me to keep in the store, graded stuff, things like that. And so that was the only real exposure I got to that. Now I definitely see the appeal, right? Because if it's all about the hunt, like one of my friends says. It's like, you want that to be able to look, but unfortunately, like I said, it was just a matter of literal space. I just did not have space for
So
back
you
issues.
did. See, and this is something I want to address with you. Befuddled Jack, a few trades says diversification is a good idea for sure, but it also doesn't address the issue that the comics don't sell. If comic stores turn into nerd stores and comics keep not selling keep selling, the comic will disappear. Then it's not a comic shop at all. And that's the thing. Like if the publishers are making bad comics, and if that's the sole reason, then comic stores to survive, like as a business, you have to go, okay, how do I survive? Like what's the next decision to
Hmm.
make me just survive? And so you might not be a comic store, you might just be a nerd store, and that's just how you survive. And as for the comics, like as a creator yourself, what are your thoughts on this? Comics will disappear. Like I don't personally believe that, obviously, because I most of my comics I read are not from a comic book store. They're read on my phone on
Hmm.
various apps. So like what are your thoughts on like this sentiment?
Yeah, 'cause I was reading. So he's saying, so it doesn't address the issue that the comics don't sell. Well, see, the thing is, it depends because they sold for us, but I had to be smart about how I did it, right?
Mm,
So some shops I see, they will just buy a bunch of the big sellers, right? So Batman, for example. But even so, because especially because we were a smaller shop, I got to see it on a smaller scale. Um, you know, I can I had a lot of subscription services that bought into Batman, right? So when I got my order, you would think, oh, you sell a lot of Batman. Well, I do, but it's because a lot of people have committed to buying it,
yeah, yeah.
and I would put a few on the shelf. I think that's the difference too, is that heck, even now with the comics that I make, I'm very careful about like taking pre-orders and whatnot. And I mean that's one of the good things about Kickstarter, right? It's essentially, I mean, it's a pre-order system if you have your book already done, like we did. So I think that's the main thing overall. It's just not overspending because I can see what he's talking about, because if you're looking at comics like they're the VHS and you're just waiting for VHS to go away, which it eventually did, and now it's a nostalgia thing. You get it in secondhand stores and whatnot. Um, I can see that argument, but I also see you was saying that indies will continue as well. I you know I'm not going to pretend that I understand the strategy of the big two right now, but there are enough of others, all Image Comics and Boom Studios and IDW and all the other ones, that I see different things from different companies, and I just like to see what they're each doing. So they're all going to be selling at some point, right? Now, comics going to be the dominant thing in those stores? Probably not. But that's why you need the multiple sources of income, because if they're not pulling in a lot for you, then maybe like you said, maybe it won't be that there'll be less comic shops specialty that are not huge stores, because there's a lot of stores that are huge that have been around for years that are surviving off of those back issues, that you hear some of those shop owners talk about, well, yeah, we still sell the back issue, especially every time a new Marvel movie or something comes out, that character's first appearance goes up and we sell it. But how many times can you do that
Yeah.
with, without getting them to continue to buy? So I can see how it could happen, but yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't think it will happen, at least not yet.
Like, if anything, I kind of like, for me, I think the writing on the wall is that I think the floppy format is what will die, not like big two comics. Like, there's
Mhm.
always going to be someone who wants to read a Batman story, and I think it'll just be in a different format. This is Master Panda says, and yet they'll continue to call themselves comic book stores, just like comic book conventions that focus on celebrities and kitsch and I don't know what that is. Kitsch. Shit. Not comics. Records are outdated, inferior tech, but they're still being printed. Comics will survive as long as people make them. Their strategy for distribution needs to change, in my opinion. So this is honestly how I see it, and this is, I now have an example. Thank you, DC, for giving me an example. I think that this is the way that it's going to happen in the future. I see, and I'm not saying it has to be on Webtoon, but I see like these as the floppy. So like, let's go to, and anyone, by the way, if you're in the chat and you go, I don't like the art style and the writing, ignore all that part. We're just talking about the distribution aspect. Whereas you have, like, this is, he says episode 1, this is issue 1. Okay. And issue 1 comes out this week. And look, 177,000 people liked it. There's a 1.4 million subscribers. So you have like at least like 20% of those subscribers are hitting the like button. Let me tell you guys something. I read so many webtoons, I never hit the like button. So there's several people like me who don't hit the like button. And then, and I'm not saying that it's in the scroll format either. I'm just saying, if we see, if they started doing like digitals, like I see the floppy going digital. And so it's really, you are at that point, like you are really investing in a quality product, because you're not making very much money on the digital, if any. So you're like, you better have a banger artist, a banger writer, and a banger story. And then the goal is you read all of these issues, and then you go and and then you go and and then you go and buy the trade paperback.
Tyler just had a stroke, guys.
So and then you go and you buy the trade paperback. And look, there's already 3 volumes. So like, this is a great way. Also, this is like it's a great way because you could do like a mini series this way. So you do a 6-issue mini series, and then, I mean, that's not very good for the digital format. No one likes a 6-chapter book, but like, you can kind of tell like pretty soon, like, yo, no one's liking this, let's move on. And you don't have to deal with the print costs, and you lost maybe some like cost on like you lose costs on like the writer, and the artist. So like, that's where I think the digital goes. I mean, the manga does that right now. Like, I read every week the latest Jujutsu Kaisen chapter, and then after like 7 or 8 chapters, then there's a new volume out, and then you can go buy the volume.
Mm-hmm.
I wish floppies took the manga digest route, where you buy a 100-page Batman magazine and you get Batman Robin. Here's the thing though, that's an outdated model though, because they don't really do that anymore. Like even in Japan, they're slowly scaling back the physical like magazine digest route. So now like all of the, like, if there was a 100-page magazine with all of those different issues, now they're just all digital. Now you just get the app for, and it's $2 a month.
I think Crooked Painter has a pretty good comment here where he says records are outdated, inferior tech. They're still being printed. Comics will survive as long as people make them. And that was the thing that I was going to say, like, regardless of where you stand on any of these formats, right? If you're the owner of the shop or whatever it is, whatever's happening to the formats, whatever's going on with all the products, you are still in charge of pushing those, right? And so, to his point, did I ever think records were going to come back and be printed? No. You know, but here we are now. Are they a huge market? I mean, I don't know how huge, but enough to be printed, right? That's the point right there, is that it's making somebody money. And that's the point of all of this that we're talking about, is that as long as money is being made, then at the point when it's not making them money anymore, that's when they'll finally cut it, because there is no obligation for these two companies really. I mean, unless the structure is different from what we see in the public, but just because they're making all this money on the Marvel movies or whatever, people think, well, they can just drop the comics, right? Because they make, well, they're not doing so hot anymore. But the point is,
Uh-huh.
is that it has to be making them something, because they're from a business. I see so many people, in those higher companies, that kind of like what you were saying, cutting those people before Christmas. Like they do not hesitate if they feel like they're not making money or they want to save money. They don't care. All they care about is the bottom line. So that's what's going to drive. If one of these days those reports come in and it finally says, "Hey, the floppies are making us lose money like crazy. We need to get rid of them now."
Out. Like
Yeah,
there's
that's
gonna be a meeting and they're gonna be
yeah.
like, what do we do? Like, and like, yeah, that's gonna affect comic book shops. It's gonna affect distribution. It's gonna affect printers. Like that, it's gonna affect a lot of. It's gonna affect a lot of, and that's what happens with unfortunately, that's what happens with innovation. Like a lot of industries, when they change up something, a lot of companies who relied on those other businesses doing business one way, they get affected. Like the printing presses, who are like reliant on that Batman floppy printing every month for their printer, now they don't have that. Now they don't have that, and they have to figure out, crap, how do I get that new business? And in terms of by the way, Massive Panda is saying the question is whether or not the webtoon readers will support the creators when they decide to go into a crowdfunder. It's worked for a few. Well, you're right. That depends. In terms of like this Batman family one, this is where like guys working at a book publisher was great, because I could get into the sales numbers of every book in the freaking world with my login, but I can't do that now ethically. But like you have the Batman trade paperback, and it was number 6 in top selling graphic novels. So like that's like, and above it was Deceased, Blue Beetle, Watchmen, The Last Ronin, and Disney manga. So not like 6 is like, I wish there was fucking sales numbers right there, but still, like, that's still good. It's like it's a proof, like this just proved the model. Like, and I hate when people are like, oh, no one's gonna do like this. They just proved it. Like they're like, this is a model that can work. Digital first, then print equals, like, it potentially can equal sales numbers. And like, God forbid, guys, don't make me fucking do this. Don't make me fucking do this. I'll do it. I'm doing it. Lore Olympus, 6.4 million subscribers. Look, Batman gets more readers, but Lore Olympus is a New York Times bestseller. And I'll give you guys the inside scoop. To become a New York Times bestseller, you have to sell more than 70 to 100,000 copies in pre-order. So like, there you go. Oh, Let's Play. Don't make me do this, guys. Don't make me do this. Let's Play for 5 million subscribers. What? Like 200,000 likes. Oh, there's no way that Let's Play can make money on a crowdfund. That's bonkers. Why is it do? Yeah, that's bonkers. Oh shit, is that Let's Play doing $233,000 on Kickstarter? And every single time they do a new Let's Play, Kickstarter needs to fucking fix their search bar. Every single time there's a new Let's Play, it's in the top like 10 most freaking what is going on? This is
While you're looking for that, I think another thing too is talking about, like, it sounds like the discussion of the floppies going away or not is
yeah.
discussion, right? So it's like, in this type of shop, right, that's one of the many choices of things you have to sell, and it's such a big chunk that for it to go away, it would either have to be the shop owner's decision, but the floppies still exist out there, right? They're still available to order. Just for whatever reason, you can make the decision. You don't have to. You can just make yourself a graphic novel store if you want and carry.
Yeah, yeah. Like that's
But,
that's the thing.
like,
You can make those decisions.
yeah, but they're saying, or it sounds to me like they're talking about at the top. Like, at what point do Marvel and DC say this is enough? We're not making money on this. Let's just switch over to a different format. Like, that's two different things, and it still comes down to the same. It's money, right? It's when, and you make those decisions when you have a shop all the time, every month. There was times that I would get a comic or a game or something that I was like, or pops, or pop figures. I'm like, oh, these people like these characters. These will sell. Nope, didn't sell. And you never know. And then you go to a different store down the road, and they're like, oh yeah, we sold out of that pop figure. It's like, but I still have all of mine on my shelf. There's so many factors, like, because there's so many different tastes and wants that the people in your area have versus the people in another area. You just,
and different strategies.
It is hard to figure out, that's why you have to pay attention. That's why you have to communicate while you're getting composed over there. One thing that I was able to do, since I was a smaller shop, was I was able to text my customers directly, right, and be like,
oh, nice.
Hey, there's a new Batman miniseries coming out. I see you have Batman on your pull list. Do you want this one? And I even had people tell me that I stayed friends with after the store. They're like, I miss that. Like, I miss somebody knowing what I like and asking me, because they can do all the advertising they want. And like you've said before, like, they're not doing a lot now. So a lot of people may not know just because it's Batman. They're like, yeah, people will figure it out.
Even if my store had done, like, put me on an email list, and like, I mean, once again, my store does no marketing because they fucking suck. But like as someone who does email marketing full time, like, get my email and you go, what are your favorite comics? Oh, I like Batman, this and this. Sweet. Tyler's email, and then you put a tag, Tyler likes Batman. So that when the new Batman news comes out, you go, okay, send Batman email with all the latest news, send to people who have the tag Batman. And then all the Batman fans get an email that's like, new Batman book. And then I go, oh, like, new Batman book, I should go to the comic book store. Instead, they're relying on me going on Twitter, or like, I don't know, God telling me one night, Tyler, Tom King isn't on Batman anymore, so you should come back, Tyler. Like, that's just not what's gonna happen. Oh, Andrew said a 5 super chat. Thank you. Hold on,
Andrew wants you to read this.
Or the video comics will become the new floppies because I'm working on one. Wink, wink. That's fair. Yeah, Kickstarter's interface, right? Like, right now, like, normally it's not this bad, but right now it is worse than the Tomb Raider on PS1. No, like, with business models, like, I remember talking with Tim Lim and being like, what works for you guys? And he was like, doing a tier that gets you the book and an acrylic standee. They said that one is their gangbusters, besides like just like getting the book. So I go, okay. So I did that for like 2 campaigns straight. And I was like, Tim, I'm not selling any of these acrylic fucking standees. Your strategy, like, doesn't work for me. And instead, and then when Kickstarter did the add-ons, I just put them as my add-on. And then I started selling 100 and like 100. And then this one sold hundreds. And so I'm like, oh, okay. Like, the products are the same. You're getting a book and the acrylic standee, but like, one way of selling them worked for someone and one way just didn't work for me. And it doesn't mean that either or was wrong or right. It's just like, it's like, oh, like, you're wrong for having me try to sell this Funko Pop. It's like, well, it worked in my store. Maybe you have to do it a different way, and that's how you get it to sell. I think digital publish first from Holly Brown. I think digital publish first and then print exclusive for more violence or unedited panels. Yeah. Like, I think like, a good way to possibly do it with the, like, we'll go back to the Batman family example, is like, you could do these in black and white. Like, the digital releases are in black and white. And then if it does really well, and then like if it just does subpar when you put the graphic novel out, it just stays in black and white. So then it's cheaper to print and then you can charge whatever you want. But then if it does really well, like this one, you could then print it in color. So it's like, yo, you were reading these weekly in black and white. Now buy the graphic novel and it's in color. And you go, oh, well, I want to see what it looks like in color. And now you've hooked someone in reading in weekly, and now you're incentivizing them to buy the physical because it's in color, and it's a whole new experience. Holly Brown, getting issues per month is a real pain in the ass. If you miss one issue, and previews usually don't show enough to be hooked. I do remember I remember like missing out on one series, and I like missed out on an issue because I forgot to say something. And then like getting that issue was such a pain in the ass. And that was not a fun experience. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Joe, on like a digital first, like replacing the floppy?
I mean, again, it as long as it makes the money, that's what it's. We always have to remember that, you know, in this argument is that if you're going to build up the incentive, right? I think so. Like, I don't know that he had this plan from the beginning, but it ended up that the Scott Pilgrim books ended up that way, right? When he first put them out, they were in black and white. Then, you know, and they still hadn't hooked me, and then it was the movie that actually sold me on that story. So then he comes out with a color edition of them, and they're real nice. They're hardcovers. So those are the that finally I was like, okay, these are mine. Like, so that type of model can definitely work. It's a ramp up, it's a build up, right? It's like, here's on my side, like you always talk about, don't talk about the non-sexy things in this. If I give this to you in black and white, you know, that cuts the cost on me. You show me that you like it, and you know, help me make money on it. Now I can take some of that money and give you the color edition, you know, because I've actually made some money. So like, yeah, there's different ways to set it up of how you, the creator, you know, can get it out there without breaking the bank. And then if it's successful enough, then it'll come back to you that you can incentivize, like you said, and give back at that point.
Like that's a plan that I have for Super Plumber Sisters, is like, it's a 4-part story. I don't want to milk. I like, someone's like, you can go on forever. I'm like, I'm one Japanese like lawsuit from like having my life ended if someone's just has a bad day. And I was like, this is our stuff. And I'm like, no. So I'm like, let me just make this a limited series. But I'm like, I'll do the 4 volumes. And on the 4th, I'll do the 4 issues. And on the 4th issue, we'll do a trade paperback. And then, if I go, okay, that series did well, like overall, like look at like my investment and the profit, I'll go, hey, I'll crowdfund a color version. And I'll be like, here's the color version. And I know you bought the black and white version, but included in the color version will be like an extra 20-page story. And yeah, but you have to figure out how to ramp things up or give things extra or like try different formats. Like if it didn't work in black and white format, like end the series or like just continue it black and white and tell the story. I mean, if it does well, like reward people, but also first and foremost, like have like publishers. Yes, they need to have good products. They need to make good products. Like from a business side, like publishers as a business, they need to make good products. But also on the store side, they have to run their own business. I remember when I was working at the book publisher, like if a bookstore didn't want any of our books that month, it wasn't the store's fault. It was our fault. We made books that month that no one was interested in buying, that no one wanted to buy. We didn't know the market. We guessed. Like it was like we produced one book. I remember this was my fault, but I remember being like, this is everyone's going to want this book. And it was delayed. It got delayed. And then the trend that I saw coming died. Mm-hmm. It died. And it like at the height of it, that's when the book was supposed to come out, but then it died. So the book got delayed. And then when it finally came out, the bookstores were like, yeah, we don't care anymore because that trend's done. And like, so like that was our fault as a publisher. And so I think if comic book stores start selling less, then it's going to trigger the business people at the publishers going, uh-oh, our products are selling less, we need to change something. They need to change something. And so like right now the floppies are fine because that trigger hasn't been met yet. The companies are making money clearly. But once that moment does hit where it's like, oh, we're not making money, that's when I think we're just going to start seeing the change that you're talking about. Because you're right. At the end of the day, every business needs to make money. And if a comic book store owner is like, the floppy isn't making me money, therefore I'm not going to be ordering it anymore, that will then trigger the publishers and go, uh-oh.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Here's a way to think about it. And I guess this is the way I thought about it, and I wasn't even trying to at the time, because it was literally just me paying attention to what sold. Right? It's like I have some favorite characters. Right? If like, let's say I like Wolverine, for example. If I keep ordering Wolverine from my shelf, just hoping that he sells, and maybe I go the extra mile. Maybe I get a cosplayer to come in as Wolverine, and I go all out, and still his floppies are not selling for whatever reason. You can blame Marvel, you can blame, the point is they're not selling, right?
Yeah.
Then I look at the month and I'm like, oh well, Batman is still selling strong. Let me get a cosplayer to come in to do Batman. Oh, a cosplayer came in and did Batman. Now my sales doubled. Like, Wolverine's still my favorite character, but for whatever reason in my store at that time, it just wasn't happening, and I have to accept that. That's kind of what I was saying, like with The Walking Dead or any of those others that like other comic book owners would tell me, yo, those should sell. Well, they're not, for whatever reason, and I can't sit here and worry about why they're not, because I have other stuff that is selling. I have other ideas that are working, and that's what's keeping us in business. And I think that's the thing too, is that like you just have to stick with what's working for you, so you can make money, and so you can, I always used to tell people, so I can keep the lights on. That's the goal.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, we made it to the next month, we get to keep the lights on. That was my famous saying with them, so
That's funny. Well, guys, let me just make sure I got all my questions out. But I feel like we have done some grilling. I gotta ask my questions. I gotta learn a lot, guys. If you guys have any questions for Joe, hit it.
I didn't need the rabbit at any point.
We didn't know.
Okay,
I was gonna pull my gun out and be like, "What's the reliance on Weekend Warriors? What's the reliance?" But no, like one thing I hate about these discussions is that like manga fans, they talk about the stories, and comic book fans, we talk about the business, and most people are business illiterate. And like, just like I don't like it when artists are talking about like how to art, because the average person is art illiterate. So when they're like, I don't want my comics being drawn on an iPad, like iPads don't draw comics, paper does. And I'm like, okay, like you're illiterate. So like we shouldn't be having the discussions. It sucks that we have these discussions, but I hate that sometimes we're just afraid to ask these questions. Like Joe, don't you think retailers should diversify their product and maybe make better business decisions on their end and do some marketing and business? Like, I feel like I post it on Twitter, I get hosed. Like, no, it's DC and Marvel's fault for producing bad product. It's like, okay, but not everything they do is bad. And you can bring people in. Oh, we got questions for Joe. Grill. How do you typically get your comics as a retailer? Does the distributor just deliver it and drop it in front of you, or do you deliver and set it up for you? There you go.
So, excuse me. So yeah, they so back when I was in it was only Diamond. So for as much as everybody always complained about Diamond, I lucked out, I guess, because I had a really good experience with them. But yeah, they would deliver drop in front of. So yeah, they would send a box of whatever you ordered. Their system was actually really good, about just you would always start off with what you wanted at first, and then you had a certain amount of time to add stuff if new customers came in and you needed more copies. And then even after the fact, as long as it wasn't like a crazy issue that sold out or something, you could get back issues that were not too old, within a month or two. But yeah, it would literally just show up in a box saying drop in, or do they deliver it and set it up? No, they wouldn't set up anything. They would do secret shoppers though, and they were serious about that. I still have, I think it's 3 I got. You could not back then. You could not have the comics out Tuesday night. This was before DC started doing their Tuesday thing. Everything, if it was out before Wednesday and they caught you, it was like a strike system. And I don't remember.
Really? Why?
It was just an agreement between them and the publishers, I think, or something. But
you will sell this on Wednesday and only Wednesday.
Yeah, it had to. New comic book day, it had to be there, and they would try. And it was funny because they would probably use some sort of random service, because the people who'd come in, you can tell that they're not comic collectors. Like they don't. There was nothing. You could tell like their questions were staged, and thankfully one time they tried to get my wife, and I was like, yes, she paid attention. She was like,
you're looking at a comic, you go, yeah, does this come out on a Wednesday?
No, we couldn't even have them on the shelf. That's why that was the way they were trying to trick her, because they were like, oh, well, do you have, I don't know, Batman 26?
Oh, they would ask like very specific questions.
Yeah, and she was like, well, do you have it yet? So like, can I buy it tonight? And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, well, we can't sell that one until tomorrow. Like they would try to catch you, All
right, and so that's so real quick. The final issue of Batman Death in the Family, it's when Joker gets his face cut off and blah blah. The final issue came out on the day that I was leaving to go on my Mormon mission to South Africa. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm not going to be able to get the end of this freaking story. So for 2 years. And so I remember going to my comic book store and be like, hey, I know this comes out tomorrow. Please, can I have it? And he was like, no. And I was like, listen, like, I'm begging you. And he's like, no. And I basically had to be like, listen, tomorrow I will not be showing up. I'm canceling my hold with you right now. And I'm going to Africa. So like, I won't get the ending of the story. Please, like give this to me, please. And he was like, all right, like he was like, all right, but like shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and then you would have been like, hi, I'm from Diamond. And
I got you. The old Mormon going on a mission trick. Oh, that's so fun. I think Eliza Barr's here. I'm here to just vaguely throw Tyler into a fist fight. Watch out, I got my knife. I'm going to repair it tonight after this. But I think a lot of people I think a lot of people don't realize, like, it isn't just like Marvel and DC dump all of their books on you and you're forced to sell them. Like, you as the shop owner are like, okay, like, you make the decisions. It's not like Marvel's like, you will buy Iceman and sell it because he's gay. It's like, no, you as a store make the decision. Do I put in Iceman in my store? You're like, it's you, like, they're not forced, like, publishers, like, they can try and incentivize you to do that, but ultimately it's you as a store owner. And if you are the one who are like, I think this Superman book is going to kill it, and it doesn't kill it, you made a bad business decision, and that's on you. So you have to figure out that stuff. Like, there is accountability, guys, with comic book retailers and their decisions.
Yeah, and back then, with it all being under Diamond, remember the first time I opened up Diamond's online ordering, it was like the Willy Wonka song came on. It's like, in a world of pure imagination. And I'm just like, no, I don't need to buy that. I don't need to buy that. I don't know how it is nowadays, because everything's been separated.
Diamond, Lunar, DC Direct.
Yeah. But back then it was just like, oh my God, like the temptation.
Yeah, because like everyone has a love for this hobby, and you're kind of like, yeah, someone's gonna buy this Batman statue. I would, I'm not, but someone would because I want to. And yeah, and the accountability is going out of business, which seems to be happening all the time now. I mean, I think there's other factors, like, besides the product maybe not being very good and readers like feeling disgruntled, is, when you have retailers maybe making bad decisions on like what to put out. Like Joe says, his favorite character is Wolverine. If he just keeps putting out Wolverine, but his customers are like, where's Batman? and you're like, no, Wolverine's better. Like, that's gonna struggle. But also, there's other outside factors. There's like the rent economy right now, like where landlords are being like, hey, like, so it was like $1,000 for you to rent this place. It's now 5,000. Like, like fuck you. Good luck with that. And they're like, great. Well, now we're out of business because we can't do that. So I think my whole thing, and the reason why, guys, I brought Joe on is like, yes, like I'm glad Mark Millar and retailers are saying, hey, DC, Marvel, like your books aren't very good, and like our customers aren't very happy. But also, like, I still think there's some responsibility on the comic book store. Like, you can't say, oh, DC and Marvel products suck, so I inevitably went out of business. And like, there's like, you can diversify your product, you can learn other marketing tactics and sales to get people through your door and hold events. And I wanted to bring on Joe on tonight because he's done the deed. I can talk the talk, but Joe has walked the walk. And yeah, it's and also, like, business is hard. It being in business is hard. Joe's wife is like, fuck doing that thing again.
Yeah, she really is. She said, if I want to open another store, I can wait till I retire.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, doing business, being a business person is hard because you are accountable on all levels of every aspect. Even if you want to shirk it off, like, oh, it's DC and Marvel's fault. It's like, okay, that's their fault. What are you going to do about it, though?
Making these, to me, is much less stressful than running a shop. So these for a while.
I dig it. Well, guys, let's we'll end the show. We'll end the show tonight. But Joe, plug away your book, man.
Yeah.
If there's any links you want me to put in, let me know.
It's just childsplaycomics.com. I'm actually still in the middle of getting these sent out because Comics Wellspring forgot to send me my packing stuff. So
oh, shame.
Yeah, so I gotta wait for that now so I can ship everything. But I am gonna have some left over, and what I'm really excited about is that if any of you guys have TikTok, I'm gonna try the TikTok store.
Oh, nice.
Take advantage of that free shipping to send it to everybody. I'm still gonna have some at our website for, obviously there's a lot of people who don't use TikTok and won't touch it. So we have our own website, but unfortunately there I do have to charge shipping. So but yeah, it's gonna be a good 2024. I mean, obviously you and I have chatted a little bit about certain things, but won't divulge anything until that's official. But other than that,
Scott Settlers of Catan comic.
Dude, I'm gonna make you do a whole video when you read that and love it. Be like,
gross. It'll be titled like Tyler this comic gave Tyler PTSD, and then everyone's like, wow. And I'm just like reading it, and I'm like trade him the fucking sheep, or it's like, why'd you block him in? Now they can't play. Stuff like that. No, that's awesome. Guys, I linked Child's Play Comics on the site. I think I backed your book. Did I back your book? I backed your book. Did I back your book? Yeah, so I'm waiting for my freaking copy. And then what's great about those books is that, like, once I get done reading it, I know I can chuck it over to my kid and he can have a silly goose time with those as well. And then, guys, as for yours truly, we have Super Plumber Sisters 1 and 2, a sexy action comic. I gotta change this because there's nothing really sexy about it. It's just a fun comic. Like, literally, people are like, do they fuck? I'm like, no, they don't. Do they get naked? No, they don't. They're on an adventure and it's fun. And they're like, oh, I'm not backing it then. I'm like, okay, fine, don't. So I gotta change the sexy part.
But there's probably a sludge monster in the first issue.
Yeah, and does a sludge monster fuck the girl? Like, no, it does. No, he doesn't. Do the cousins have, no? Like, stop it. Like, go find Jesus, please.
No, I legit. Here, I'm gonna plug for you. I legit enjoyed Super Plumber Sisters. Like, that was a lot of fun. I love the personality of the two girls. They played off each other perfectly. It reminded me a lot of, I don't know, there was definitely like a Ghostbusters vibe. I don't know, it was because of the.
Was it because of the
yeah. but I mean, kind of that fun, like, I could easily see this being a cartoon, well, an anime since it's you, but for sure an anime. But
Has like the if this was like a mainstream title, it would definitely have like that monster of the month kind of feel. Like this is every week there's like a new monster and they go on adventures and I honestly like it's one of those things where like I have like if I was to do a sequels like a second arc, it'd be I would literally do the Super Plumber Sisters 2. And 2 chapter 1 and there's a part of me that's like I don't know. Once I get done with the fourth one, I'll assess like, okay, like, did I do it? Did I do the job? Did we tell the story? Do people want more of this? When does Nintendo find out and kick my ass and ruin my life with like the lawsuit of lawsuits? Like,
I think you're good, dude.
so I think I've got a case for parody. There was a girl though on TikTok and she sold like Luke Combs, he's a musician, like canteens. She sold like 8 of them and she got hit with a $250,000 lawsuit.
Wow.
And like luckily Luke Combs found out about it and was like, sorry, like that shouldn't have happened. Like we're gonna like I feel bad that happened to you, but like okay, he's nice and he's got a public image too. These companies don't give a fuck. They're like, and so I'm just wait for. I'll go Nintendo. Wait! Before you sue me, I'll sell you the characters, and then they'll be like, okay, so we're gonna add an extra 5 million to your lawsuit because you're an idiot.
Yeah, you're the cat burglar that tries to sell the diamond back to the museum.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. Wait, hold on, guys. Let's do some business here. Let's do some business. It needs some constant tentacles. I can't do any more tentacles in my books, guys. Like everyone's realizing it's starting to become a trope. It was great, but it would be better if they furk. Eliza Bar. We also need a Captain Louis cameo in that book. Yeah, I'll tell you guys this. The kind of the first one had like very like Moach like Ghostbuster vibes to it, which is funny because like I don't like Ghostbusters, but once like I had a friend read it and they're like, oh, I'm getting Ghostbusters vibes. I'm like, nice, that's good. So like if like looking at the games, if we kind of did like the whole like Luigi's Mansion thing, like sucking up the ghosts and like monsters, the Super Plumber Sisters 2. We're gonna hit like the Mario Party, like that's the Mario Party trope. So that's what they've got to do is they've got to like play like our version of Mario Party, which is man. With all
if you want to be true to Super Mario, well, that other thing, part 2, we won't. At the end, the girls have to wake up and it's all a dream. So
is that what happens?
Yeah, at the end of part 2, yeah.
Wait, of Super Mario Bros.
2, yeah, the one with where he fights Big Boss Wart and all the, it's all this. It's the one that was the different game, and then they put the Mario skin on it. It was called like Doki Doki Panic at first.
Oh, dude, man, I have no.
That's why it's got the whole different mechanics of pulling all the vegetables and yeah, they literally just skinned it because they thought that the original Super Mario was too hard for Americans, and so they gave us that one instead. So
interesting. Wait, hold on, what's it called?
So now what's called?
Like, what would I type in
for
see this?
Well,
what you're talking about?
Just the history of Super Mario Brothers 2 should bring it up. Or you can type in Doki Doki Panic if you just want to see what that game looks like.
Is this it?
Yes.
Is that Doki? My wife is like, "Yo, are you done with the show?" And I'm like, "Hold on." I'm like, really just messaging her. I'm like, "Hold on." Like,
I just opened a can of worms.
like, shut up. This is important.
I can send you. There's a really good YouTuber called the Gaming Historian. I'll send you his video. It'll tell you everything you need to know. So,
oh, is this it? Right? Oh, it's right here. The Gaming Historian.
Oh, yeah, dude, he is the best. Like, if you want to know anything about stuff from that time period, his videos are excellent. He does them like documentary style.
Shame he is he doesn't do that much. I mean, he has a ton. Like, this would take me like a year to watch, but like
It's because he takes so long to put them together. Like they're very well produced, so they're worth the wait.
Oh god, so it's not like I'm watching some like stupid like, yo, what's up guys? Today we're gonna be talking about it's like I could
Not
sit
at
down
all.
and put a bowl of popcorn and watch
Yeah,
some good television.
you're gonna feel like you're watching something like on the History Channel or something like that. Like his early videos are more like what you're saying, like the traditional YouTuber stuff, but his newer ones are more documentary style, and
Looks
they're
like
really
that's the newer stuff is where he started finding that like success.
yeah.
Quality, guys.
Hmm.
Quality. Okay, well I'm gonna check this out. Maybe that's what maybe that's what I've got to do with my the a cover for all the hardcore the hard
Hmm.
the hardcore people. So this is Doki Doki that they just reskinned to Mario.
They kept Big Boss Wart, but all those characters you can look at them and you can see which one the princess is, which one Mario is, which one.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's so fun. So like this was what the actual game was supposed to be
yeah, and if you
or
see,
was.
yeah, the levels are pretty much identical. It's just they skinned over the characters. The original Mario 2, I think, is called like Mario Hidden Levels or Lost Levels or something like that. So
Interesting. Now you guys know because it's my super short show. I do recall a lot of soup jokes in the book. I think you're safe. Larry asked me the other day. He goes, "Hey, what's up? What's in those cookies?" And I'm like that Mara keeps trying to give Lucia, and I'm like, nothing. But there's a part of me that kind of like final battle, like they all got their ass kicked, and Mara's like Lucia, just eat the freaking cookie, and then we bring that full arc, and the cookie actually had some fucking powers in it, and we bring that story full circle.
oh, there's Eliza Bar says it's called the Lost Levels. That's right.
And you
Those
can
are the
only
ones.
play it in the US on SNES. On SNES, that's not even a freaking it's not
Is,
even Nintendo.
is it on the store though? They don't offer it on the store.
I don't know. I'm not a Nintendo guy.
Yeah,
I
I
did
haven't followed much of anything over the past few years. So
I did get my brother for Christmas like an Amberneck emulator, so it looks like a Game Boy Color, but it could play like, up to like PlayStation 1 emulations.
mhm.
And I was playing that the other night, to make sure it worked. But before I gave it to him for Christmas, and I was like, "Wow, this is really fun." Order myself one. And my
Mhm.
wife's like, "Why did you get this?" I'm like, "Oh, it's for our kid, like, so he can play kid games because all the Mario's are on there." Psych, it's for me. But Joe, thank you so much for coming on and able to like have this discussion, or you're a retailer, so you have like the experience and I like that you're like, nah, it's not just publishers' fault. I have a business and it's my freaking responsibility to do what I need to do. And I like those kind of level-headed conversations.
Mhm. And I survived a second stream. Let's see it.
Let me, dude. Okay, so I'm in a Discord and I'm like trying to get like, we have these conversations and I'm always the black sheep because I'm like conservative and whatnot. And everyone's like, Tyler's a bigot. And I'm always like, well, let's come on a stream because like I probably sound like a dick over text,
Mhm.
but like I'm very chill and they're all like, I'm not going on stream with you. If we do, I need a moderator. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like what what am I, the big fucking bad wolf or something? Like be a yeah, anyway. So I'm glad, yes, you survived because I'm awful apparently. I
He's
am
like, next time.
yeah, but next time
Like,
we'll get you.
I'll get you and your little rabbit too.
Exactly, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. The next fuck, I think next week is Christmas,
Yep.
so probably not gonna do a stream on Christmas, so maybe I'll do fake live or something. So but yeah, thank you so much for Joe. You guys all have a great freaking rest of your night. If you're watching this not live, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Happy holidays, happy Christmas, and peace.